Hi everybody, I am going to do a little talk today. It's something on my mind. I need to just get some sage because I forgot before I started. I'm going to do a little saging because I do that before every single talk I ever do. Sets me right, grounds me, and clears me so I know I'm talking truth. Okay, so today I want to talk about something that I usually save just inside of my priestess containers because I usually like to keep the really in-depth truth into a sacred space, but this one is for everybody because of how much what's happening this week is in the mainstream. So I'm talking about Lionsgate Portal and how that's all related to the Rose Lineage and the Divine Feminine, because we are skipping over that part as usual. It goes right to some sort of egoic gain. I'm going to manifest during the Lionsgate Portal and I'm going to get everything that I want. This has nothing to do with you, and actually very little to do with the sun. So there's a ton of people out there also kind of shitting on Lionsgate. I don't believe they know the whole truth. And so I'm gonna put some more truth out there and you can make your own decisions about it. So in a past reel, I mentioned, it was called, I think, The Secret, or the Something You Didn't Know About Lionsgate, something like that. And it had to do with actually the portal that opens up between Mary Magdalene's feast day and the Assumption of Mother Mary. That is not an accident, you guys. Literally, there is, I actually don't even know how many, very little, if any, Catholic religious holidays that aren't already based off of either a pagan holiday or an astrological happening. And so what this is bringing me to say is that the Lionsgate Portal, first of all, I'm going to stop calling it that because that name shouldn't, I don't believe that that's actually the proper terminology for what's happening here. This is the heliacal rising of Sirius, and I can't even say that word. This has nothing to do with a gate, a portal, whatever you want to call it. All of these religious holidays, priestess holidays, astrological happenings are all based off of the rising of the Sirius star at sunrise. It actually has very little to do with the sun conjunct Sirius, because after a while the sun is not conjunct Sirius anymore. It's only 1 or 2 days of the year where it's a super tight conjunction and then they split. Why this is so important, okay? Because today's the full moon. Today, historically, is the moon that's dedicated to Diana, the goddess Diana. And we're kind of skimming over it. We're not really talking about it. It was, yes, it was a Roman holiday before Christ. Okay, so this was something that the Romans used. It was called Nemoralia, where they all gathered around this lake in, like, I think south of Rome, and celebrated the goddess Diana, the goddess of the hunt, the virgin goddess. Okay, she is the goddess of the moon. And so you'll see this pattern repeated throughout many, many, many religions and cultures across the world. The virgin goddess is compared to the moon. Okay, virgin and moon, they go together in almost every culture. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be just European, it doesn't have to be just Middle Eastern or Egyptian. All throughout the world, the virgin goddess is associated with the moon. Okay, so we're on Nemoralia. Usually happens around August 12th through the 15th if you are talking about a date. But again, calendars are made up. in ancient Egypt, this is actually the very beginning of the year. It's the end and the beginning of the year. And if there is something that's happening in ancient Rome, more than likely the ancient Romans took it from ancient Egypt for the most part. There's lots of cultures that are all feeding into ancient Rome. But if we want to travel back in time through what we would call the Rose Lineage, through because what they say is that the Rose Lineage started in Atlantis. Atlantis then became lots of different areas across the world, but one hub was ancient Egypt. And that's where all of the mysteries and the mystery schools were reawakened from the lost Atlantis. Also, just, what am I trying to say? This gathered together to create more initiates in the mystery schools. So we're just going to travel back to ancient Egypt because that's a central hub for a lot of cultures, and it's a central hub for the Rose Lineage, and it's a central hub for all of the beings who left Atlantis but wanted to continue their spiritual path. And so a lot of the lineage today comes from really, really, really super ancient, like more than what science is telling us is ancient for humans, came to Egypt after the fall of Atlantis. So they're building up. That's why Alexandria had the library. It's all very, that's where we're going for the sake of this talk. It could get so deep, so many avenues. So we're just going to focus here, ancient Egypt. Okay. So around the 12th of August, we're not talking about the calendar, but we're going to talk about the August full moon, which is the moon today. Today's the 11th, so that's okay that we're off by a day. The 11th today is the full moon that celebrates Diana. Okay, so what does this have to do with everything? Mother Mary's Assumption Day is August 15th every year. When I look at ancient religions, or I look at religion today and I look at the holidays, I always ask the question, what astrological shenanigans are happening where this became such a tradition? Okay, so here we go. Remember, we have the portal between Mary Magdalene's feast day and Mother Mary's Assumption Day. How many days is that? 15, let's just call it 25 days. I can't off the top of my head. That's a portal. That's what the Lionsgate portal is. Lionsgate is not one day. It is not 8/8. That's a made up day. And if you go back in time far enough, there was no 8/8, or 8/8 was on a different day than the one that's now. Just let 8/8 go. It's cool because 8 and 8, they're very, it's infinity and infinity together, right? That's okay. We're talking about a period of time. Mary Magdalene's feast day, Mother Mary's Assumption Day. That is when Sirius, the star system, or Sirius A, is rising on the horizon at sunrise just before the sun. So if we're going to just do little hand movements here, if you go back to about July 4th-ish, you've got the sun just below the horizon, and you've got Sirius here. And they rise like this. Throughout the next couple of days, Sirius then moves up to the sun. And then after another couple of days, Sirius goes first. So Sirius will start to rise on the horizon before the sun when it's still dark out, so you can see it with your eyes. So in ancient Egypt, they would track time and their new year based off of when Sirius would rise on the horizon before the sun, and they could still see it, right? Because the sun's light isn't blocking it out anymore. And what would then subsequently happen is the flooding of the Nile, which means it's time to start farming. Farming has, over time, become synonymous with manifesting. That's sort of why we're talking about manifesting during the Lionsgate portal, because it's originally a time to plant seeds and to farm, to harvest, do all the things. So planting seeds is a part of manifesting, right? You set the intention and then you take action to harvest it at some point when the manifestation comes. So we have this portal that's happening, and it ends roughly about the 15th of August for Mother Mary's Assumption. So now let's talk about Mother Mary. Mother Mary, also a rose priestess, because you can't birth the father of the continuation of the Rose Lineage and not be a priestess yourself. She wasn't just some average Joe that got knocked up by God. Okay, there was lots of other things happening, but we'll save that for another time. She was also a part of this. She was a part of this lineage. She was a part of the mystery schools. She was a part of being a powerful woman. Virgin. Okay, so virgin also does not mean, or did not mean, I don't have sex. It means I own myself. I am unto myself, and nobody owns me. Because back then, priestesses were one of the only parts of female society that were allowed to be without a man. They were allowed to walk at night or walk the streets, or, just, they had their own money. They were completely sovereign. And so to be a virgin is to be sovereign. So now we're pulling all the pieces together, right? So Mother Mary, Assumption Day, 8:15. What is Mother Mary's, one of her biggest names that we call her? We call her the Queen of Heaven. Okay, now let's talk about cool. She's the Queen of Heaven. We know that most Catholic holidays and big happenings are all appropriated from ancient civilizations, pagan civilizations. So, Mother Mary, Queen of Heaven, Isis, Queen of Heaven, Diana, Queen of Heaven. All virgins, all associated with the moon. Mother Mary, many times in many, many paintings, from ancient time till Renaissance time, painted on top of a moon or with a moon behind her. Same with Isis. You see that up there, that bullhorn? Those are the horns of the moon. Okay, so we've got the portal happening of Sirius rising. The Nile is flooding. There is some strange things happening in the Egyptian calendar at this time, where they have leap year happening. They have like leap days in their calendar to make sure it matches up to 365 throughout time, just like we do. It was just counted differently. On the fourth leap day of the year is Isis's birthday, which calculates to today or tomorrow. We're in this window now of Mother Mary Assumption, Diana's full moon, which is tonight, and Isis's birthday. They're all happening at the same time. That's not an accident. So if today is Isis's birthday, and Isis is one of the goddesses that the Rose priestesses have some sort of affinity to. I don't like to use the word worship or devoted or whatever, because I don't necessarily believe in that for myself. I give reverence to, but I don't necessarily give my power away to and kind of worship, but it's up to you. You get to do whatever you want. I don't judge. But for me, it's historical and herhistorical. It's okay. So the Rose priestesses have this lineage that goes back to the time of Isis, which is ancient Egypt. Where did ancient Egypt come from? Atlantis. Okay, so Isis, and I'm sure there are goddesses that are lost to time that came before Isis, before Hathor, that were maybe even real women that became goddesses. Just like Mother Mary was a real goddess who on her assumption was a real woman on her assumption became goddess, became Queen of Heaven. Okay, so where do we go from here? Lighting of the lamp festival. That's this week. So we've gotten Nemeralia, which is Diana's day, which is tonight, because we're going to talk about moon and astrology. We're not going to go by calendar date. So we have tonight, Nemeralia. That's what used to happen in Rome. Okay. Egypt would use Isis's birthday, which then would be solar. So that's tomorrow. That's why it's tonight, the moon, tomorrow, solar, and Mother Mary's Assumption. So all of these women in history are all based off this Sirius rising. Folklore has it Isis comes from Sirius. Also, folklore has it Mother Mary is also Syrian. It gets kind of lost with, is Mother Mary just like made up maybe? Like, is she just another way that the church could associate with pagan religions to keep the people happy? We don't know. But we're going to just say, like, it's cool that all three of these goddesses we're talking about are all based off of Sirius rising. After the 15th, Sirius is well risen. It's about 30 degrees. So that's kind of like the cutoff, right? You've got horizon 30 degrees, and then Sirius goes over that, and it's kind of like just a part of the night sky at that point. It's beyond the portal window of this Sirius gateway, which we call Lion's Gate, but I think that part's all made up. For sort of. Go watch my reel, you'll find out why I say that. So we have this lighting of the lamp festival. This is all that's happening. So we're lighting lamps tonight. You're lighting lamps for Isis's birthday. And then the Assumption. So here's the one thing I wanted to say about the Assumption. On the 15th, like I said, it gets about 30 degrees past the horizon. Horizon. Sirius. Rising. What's another word for rising? One would say maybe assumption. One might say you are assumed into heaven. The heavens are the stars, right? We don't really call the heavens daylight. Usually when we're outside at night, it's the heavens. So Mother Mary's Assumption may not have actually happened on August 15th, but it works if we're going with folklore of the Sirius portal gateway rising on the horizon. Heliacal star rising. That just means star rising. So she's assumed into heaven because technically, symbolically, Sirius has risen. Sirius has now been assumed up into heaven because it's now in the sky. It's not on the horizon anymore. It's up in the sky. She has been pulled up into heaven to become the Queen of Heaven. Okay, what do we do about this? What's a practical thing we do about this? So what I love about herstory and the Rose Lineage is it ties all the cultures together. So if you are Catholic, you get to celebrate this. If you are pagan, you get to celebrate this. It's what ties us all together, and it's beautiful. So we can do something practical about it. We can actually look back in time. What were they doing during Nemeralia? They were honoring Diana. So Diana's the goddess of the hunt, the goddess of the moon. This is the fun part. You'll love this. They would decorate their dogs with roses and flowers, and the dogs would become a part of the ceremony. And if you think about it even deeper, what's Sirius called? It's called the dog star. It's all related, guys. None of this is an accident. It's just becoming really conscious about it. And then you get to make your choices of where you want to devote your time and your energy, where you want to use maybe some of the energies that are coming in. And so now you can consciously hold your power, right? If you are Catholic and you're just like, oh, it's the Assumption of Mary, I'm going to go celebrate, but you don't know why, you're still unconscious about it. And it's okay, because you don't know what you don't know. But when you do know, now you can start to actually devote yourself to something bigger. You can, when you devote yourself to something bigger, you also get things in return. So it's not just about egoic gains. It's about the trade you make with the heavens, right? It's like, I give, you give, and it's a back and forth, just like it is here. Everything's relational, even down on planet Earth, as above, so below. So when they would do Nemuralia, they would decorate their dogs. Their dogs were a part of this. Actually, this was a day of hair washing. And hair is very connected to the priestess as well. If you are a hairstylist today, I would say you are living in a long line of priestesses. So what they would do is they would wash their hair, they would do braids, because braids were also another thing priestesses did and were known for, were like luscious braids. And then they would decorate their hair with all the flowers of the summer. And they would bring their dogs with them, and they would have a procession to the lake. So the lake, if you've watched my Mary Magdalene marathon that I did, the lake is one of the most primordial parts of the goddess. So they go to the lake, which they call Diana's mirror, and they ask for her blessings for the year, because remember, this is the beginning of the year. So they would, let's see, I wrote down a couple of things they would do. They would have offerings. They would wear the garland around their neck. They would put the garland on their dogs. They would put it in their hair. They would write prayers or spells or blessings on ribbon. And then they would tie the ribbon to the trees around the lake. So throughout the rest of this portal time, they would leave it up. Okay, so you have today to the 15th, they would just leave up their ribbons and the trees. And that's something you can do today. Like how cool is that you can be connected to ancient past by a ribbon? That we still have ribbons today and we still tie them to trees today. You get to use that. So that's awesome. Lighting of a candle. This is a light bringing holiday, because if you go back to Egypt, they call it Lich Napsia. Lich Napsia. I'm probably saying that wrong. It's probably like Napsia. It means light festival, basically. It's the lamp lighting festival. So they would bring all of these lamps with them to celebrate Isis's birthday. And they would do this because Isis is basically, Isis or any of these women, are the goddesses of the darkness, of the deep beneath. And if they are deep beneath the Heliacal rising, it's dark down there. There's no sun yet. But when they come up, they're bringing the light above the horizon. So it's the day where Sirius is being assumed into heaven. So we light up candles, we light up lanterns. Okay, that's another part of this. Apples were an offering, garlic, creating little tiny bread body parts seemed to be a fun little thing they would do for Diana, and I'm pretty sure they do for Mother Mary as well. I have seen out there yoni breads that I don't think the bakery knows they're baking yoni breads, if that makes sense. They do it because it's a part of tradition, but they just think it's it's the picture of Mother Mary, right? They just think they're making bread in this shape, but in reality, it's got a little twist to it with kind of like a slit in the middle, and it's not really a yoni. So baking breads, especially for afflicted areas of your body that might need an extra blessing, this is the night to do it. You go out there and you put your little, like, I don't know if you, it doesn't have to be bread, it could be made out of clay, or in today's day and age, draw it on a piece of paper and put it under the tree, and then put your ribbon in the tree, light some candles, and ask for Diana's assistance, or Isis's assistance, or if you're Catholic, Mother Mary's assistance. Okay? Whatever's going to make you more connected, more comfortable, because the point of ritual in and of itself is to be connected, to speak to the heavens. Okay? It's to communicate from our hearts to the heart of heaven. And then when we receive, it's receiving the opposite from heaven to us. Okay. Garlic, for some reason, if you want to decorate your tree with a deer, pictures of deer, maybe you have a little deer ornament, because deer, stags were often really tied to Diana. Diana is like the goddess of animals, the goddess of nature. Like, she's the goddess of just everything that's awesome in this world. So you can put a little dog up on your tree, a picture of your dog, or, you know, get creative. It doesn't have to be exactly how they did it in ancient times. Silver moons, bows and arrows, because that's also Diana's thing. And mother and child were often connected to in here, because Diana's the goddess of motherhood. She's, like I said, she's the goddess of everything that's good in this world. So she's also referenced as the queen of witches. So let's not get that twisted, that witches are not priestesses, because they are. They're just a different sect of this whole lineage. So if you call yourself a witch, that's cool. Call yourself a priestess, same thing. Call yourself devotional to the Virgin, same thing. You just don't know it. Nuns are priestesses. Come on. Okay. This is all related, you guys. Like, that's why this is so fucking cool, is that it stops the separation between people. It brings everybody together. There's a virgin goddess in Mexico in Maya time. Virgin goddesses in Asia. They're all related. And a lot of the times, I haven't done the research, but if you go and look, there's probably an ancient festival that happens today or this week for every one of those virgin goddesses in all those other cultures. It doesn't have to just be Egyptian or just be Roman or just be white people. It's everywhere, everything. Ethiopia as well, they're very much in this, like, especially with their calendar, the way their calendar still is today. It's probably one of the closest calendars to ancient times we have. Hebrews do too, have a very old calendar. And Isis is woven into Ethiopian culture as well. It's just very cool stuff. Okay, so tonight you are illuminating the light. You are reflecting the heavens back into your life. So the heavens full of lights, full of stars, full of things that are bright. Make your life that way too. Maybe you get a bowl of water and put a mirror underneath it to signify the lake that they were at with Diana. Get some ribbon, write your prayers on them, write your spells, whatever you want to call them. Like, witches have spells and Catholics have prayers and priestesses have incantations. Like, it's all the same. Just different words, and we like to just demonize other people for their words, but they're the same fucking thing, because the same woman is the same thing happening here. The same star system is what's causing all of this to happen. So, okay, I think I'm gonna leave it there, because I definitely threw it down today. Just remember, this is about the lamp lighting. Bring the lamps. Go find a lamp. Find a candle, whatever it is you want, and light it tonight. Signifying the darkness of the deep beneath. bringing light into this world, which is exactly what Mother Mary's womb did, right? In that tradition. Virgin womb, the womb of darkness, is so pure that it can handle a seed of light that bright. It's all the same stuff. So, thank you for listening. You were here for a really long time, and you all stayed here the whole time. I'm just gonna see. I saw some comments, but I was on a roll, so let me just double check. I don't text people randomly except who I'm drawn. Oh, really? Okay. That sounds like fake. Yep, the Romans the Romans added July and August to the calendar. Yes, it was, I forget what it was called. Sixtavia and Quintavia, or Quint and Six were the names of July and August, and then, the Caesars came and screwed it all up. Oh my G, okay. Immediately name my dogs. Yes, I knew you would like that part. Okay. Wonderful, thank you. You're welcome. Don't be afraid of the dark to bring others to the light. Amen, sister. Thank you for this live and valuable. You got it, people. All right, that's what it's like to be inside my priestess containers. So come on in. All right, lots of love to you.